A fourth stimulus check. Can it come in September? This is a good question that many people want to know right now and is exactly what we're going to be answering in this video, so let's get into it right away. But really quickly, welcome and thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as I'm back every day to help you out in any way that I can through these videos, as well as to keep you updated with all of this information that is changing very rapidly each and every day. Thank you. I truly appreciate your support. And also feel free to share this video or any others here on the channel with your friends, family, and social media. Ask them to come over, check out the videos, and of course, subscribe. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. And I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And please remember, I'm here to help out in any way that I truly can. All right, let's get into this. So we know right now that Congress is currently working on this big $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. Over the last few days here, we've been seeing a number of different proposals and provisions hitting the table as far as what they want to add into this package, as far as how they want to spend this $3.5 trillion package and all of the money within it. Which actually brings us back full circle to our question of the video, which is, a fourth stimulus check, can it actually come in September? Now, this is a really good question, and we want to answer it now that we finally have somewhat of a timeline on when they want to get this $3.5 trillion package fully passed. As indicated by Nancy Pelosi, she wants this thing fully passed within a matter of just a few weeks from now. So, I mean, seriously, we're kind of really getting down to it. In a matter of just a few weeks, provided there are no delays. Now, again, we've seen delay after delay with many other packages and many things that Congress says they want to do. Typically, they get delayed. It's almost rare if they don't get delayed. So, even though Nancy Pelosi has drawn this metaphorical line in the sand, even though she has that line there, it's probably going to be delayed, but let's just hope it's not, right? But I'm just saying, please don't hold your breath because we've seen so many delays with them. All right, so let's talk about the likelihood of stimulus check number 4 and if it can actually come in September. Now, here's the thing. If they just so happen to add stimulus check number 4 into this reconciliation package, can the check actually arrive, or can the check actually come in September? Well, it's actually somewhat of a two-sided question. So I'm going to give you a two-sided answer. So here's the thing. When we identify can it come in September, do we actually mean can it actually be added and or announced and or presented in September? The answer to that would be, well, yeah, it certainly could be presented and or added and or just be presented as a stimulus provision into the stimulus package. So yes, the answer there would be, by all means, yes, it could be coming in September. In fact, if it doesn't come in September, we might get a little bit concerned about it, right? Considering they want the passing of this bill completely done here in a matter of just a few weeks. So I would anticipate the first portion of this question being, well, yes, it absolutely could be coming as an announcement and or stimulus provision in the month of September. Yeah, for sure, it could come that way. Now, the next second portion of this question would be, if it is actually announced and it actually is added into the package, could it come as in a physical delivery of the payment within September? Now, this is another good question, and we want to elaborate on this a little bit further because this is where things kind of get a little bit questionable. So let's just say in the event that they actually do come out and they announce a fourth stimulus check to be added into the reconciliation bill. The next question being, okay, great. If they actually do announce it and they do add it into the package, when can we get the thing? Can it actually still come in September? Well, my next question or my next answer would be, well, it totally depends on when they actually get the bill passed, right? It all totally depends on when they get the bill passed through the House, through the Senate, and over to the president for a signature to actually turn it into law, right? We all recognize that's the process they need to go through in order to get this thing done. Based on the other stimulus packages that we've seen go through the process here, we know it needs to get full passing through the House. It needs to go through the Senate. Provided it does not get any amendments that it picks up in the Senate, then of course it would need to go on to the president. However, if it picks up any amendments in the Senate, then of course it needs to go back to the House and be passed once again. But we do know from previous experience, it's a relatively quick process, right? And then it moves on to the president. But let's just anticipate, okay, cool stuff. It gets passed in September. They've added the check into it. Again, we're still waiting on the official adding of it into the package. But let's just say hypothetically it is added into the package. It gets passed through the chambers, sent over to the president, and signed. It's all going to depend on when it is actually signed by the president. Like, what is the actual date? Because we know, based on history and the other stimulus packages, Stimulus check number 1 was distributed about 2 weeks after it was signed into law by the president. Stimulus package number 2 and stimulus check number 2 was actually signed, and then the checks hit the bank accounts. I mean, literally 48 hours after it was signed into law, we already had checks hitting bank accounts. So that was a very fast distribution on stimulus check number 2. So that was kind of an interesting one right there. So that one was about 48 hours. But stimulus check number 3, oh, do we want to go down this path again? Let's hit on it really quickly. We know that stimulus check number 3, about a week after it was signed into law, most people, about 90 million payments went out to people. However, it did not include, for the most part, it did include a few people, but for the most part, it did not include the vast majority of fixed income and low income beneficiaries, including Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, RRB. Those beneficiaries went out almost a month after it was signed into law. So then it brings us back to our original question that we're talking about right here on the video, which is, can stimulus check number 4 actually come in September? So remember I said this is a couple part question that has multiple different parts to it. So in this part of the question, we're asking and answering, can it actually arrive in September, provided it is signed into law sometime in September? Well, based on what we were talking about a minute ago, it totally depends on when it is actually signed by the president. Make sense? Because let's just say we anticipate it's signed into law maybe like the last week of September. I'm just throwing out some random weeks. I'm just saying it's signed into law the last week of September. If that actually happens, could we anticipate stimulus check number 4 arriving into accounts still in September? Well, at that point, we would have to say, well, based on history, stimulus check number 2 hit accounts within 48 hours, and stimulus check number 3 hit accounts like 3 or 4 weeks later. So with that being said, we would have to say that, well, in this situation, maybe it arrives into the package in September, but yet maybe doesn't actually hit accounts until October. Does that make sense? Now, again, this is all predicated on whether it is added into the package or not, right? Because at this time, we need to continue to remember right now, even though we have the package open, we see all of these stimulus proposals and provisions hitting the table. Technically, it has not officially been added into the package yet, even though we have a lot of support across the board for a fourth stimulus check. It's still a little bit of a head scratcher out there right now why they haven't come to their senses and added this thing into the package yet. I'm still a little bit concerned about it as far as why they have not announced it. Here's the thing. I've mentioned this in other videos. It's all about timing. When they come out to announce big announcements like this, it's all about timing. They have to time it perfectly right in front of something that they want. Remember, how do you get what you want in life? Well, you announce something really big for the people, and then you say, hey, check it out. If you do this, we'll give you that. You know what I mean? It's like a little give and take. So we've seen that previously with other stimulus checks and the announcements, things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised one bit once again if we see some kind of announcement perfectly timed right in front of some kind of major announcement, right? We've seen it before and it'll likely happen again. So anyway, I wanted to lay it out and just kind of show you what it could mean if a fourth stimulus check can actually come in September. As I mentioned throughout this video, it is somewhat of a two-part question, as in, can it come? Well, yeah, absolutely, it can be announced and it can be added into the package. Can it come physically into accounts? Well, if it is actually added into packages, well, then it kind of is all predicated on when is it signed into law, the bill, right? At that point, we'd have to see. If it's signed into law in the first, relatively short period of time, as in the first half or so of September, then I guess, yeah, there's still a chance it could arrive in September. If it's signed into law toward the later portion of September, then I would say, well, it's kind of stretching it there, but then you would have to be looking at October, right? So either way, I wanted to lay it all out. This is a big question that we continue to get here on the channel, as well as, let's be real, I want to know the answer just as much as you do, right? All of us want to know this answer. When are we going to get it? When can we get it? How soon can we get it? Can it come in September? Basically, we've been asking this question for a lot of months now, right? Can it come in July? Can it come in June? Can it come in May? Can it come in August? And now we're wondering, can it come in September? In fact, I haven't made other videos asking this question, but in September, this one looks like the most promising simply because we know that they want to have the package fully passed in September. Make sense? So anyway, hope this helps you out. I'm going to watch everything very, very closely here. There's a lot going on out there. Make sure to subscribe right down below the video so I can keep you updated each and every day with all of this information that is changing very rapidly. Thanks again. I truly appreciate you. And again, feel free to share this video or any others here on the channel with your friends, family, and social media. And I'll continue to be here for you every single day. And I'll see you again in the next video.